Justin Bieber's latest social media move has set off a chain reaction that no one saw coming. A jaw-dropping revelation that leaves Usher's courtroom claims in the dust.
Justin Bieber is getting candid about his anger issues. On March 22nd, the Grammy winner shares a series of photos on Instagram where he opens up about working on his anger. He writes in the caption, "I got anger issues too, but I want to grow and not react so much SMH." Justin then shares another message in a following post that reads, "I think I hate myself sometimes when I feel myself start to become inauthentic. Then I remember we're all being made to think we're not enough, but I still hate when I change myself to please people." In addition to the post on his main feed, the singer shared a screenshot from a 2019 post from his wife Hailey Bieber, where she opened up about wanting to be, quote, more vulnerable in the upcoming year. He writes over the pic, "Still relevant boo." In recent weeks, the 31-year-old has been especially active on social media, sharing some cryptic messages in addition to regular photo dumps. On March 13th, the singer got candid about personal struggles and feeling, quote, unworthy. Writing to his Insta story at the time, "I personally have always felt unworthy, like I was a fraud. Like when people told me I deserved something, it made me feel sneaky, like damn, if they only knew my thoughts, how judgmental I am, how selfish I really am, they wouldn't be saying this." He added, "I definitely feel unequipped and unqualified most days."
It all began when whispers of courtroom drama met the blazing spotlight of celebrity social media. Reports emerged that Usher, the acclaimed R&B icon once deeply intertwined with Diddy's world, was set to testify in court over revelations tied to his tumultuous past with the bad boy mogul. With new details about Diddy's legal battles, the stage was set for an explosive turn of events. But just as the media frenzy intensified, Justin Bieber, a figure known for his unfiltered social commentary and keen sense of justice, made a move that would shake the very foundations of this scandal.
If Usher's testimony aligns with any of the ongoing investigations or lawsuits against Diddy, things could take a serious turn. We're talking about possible charges, legal ramifications, and maybe even jail time. Experts are already saying that if Usher brings solid evidence or a compelling story to the courtroom, it could be game over for Diddy. But that's not all.
Y'all put it together.
And what you mean by Diddy count?
Remember? He was on one of the talk shows. The white guy with the curly hair. What's his name? The white guy with the curly hair. And he said, "Yo, would you send your son to Diddy camp?" And Usher said, no. Ask him why he won't send him to Diddy camp.
Radio person.
But yet and still you praise him.
Damn, man, and you said that, I know you can't go into detail, but you said that it was a situation where Diddy sent him to the hospital?
Let Usher explain that to you. Let Usher mama explain that to you. And the hospital was in Scarsdale, New York.
Theories are now circulating that Usher's involvement with Diddy may have also impacted Justin Bieber, who Usher mentored when he was just a teenager. Some insiders claim that Bieber, like Usher, may have been exposed to Diddy's alleged dark world during his rise to fame.
Man, it's clear, young, that Usher gonna be called to the stand. Usher gonna be called to the stand. Justin Bieber is gonna be called to the stand, and I'm here to tell you, man, they're gonna try their best to sugarcoat it as much they can. But when they start asking them facts, forget about it, man. Them facts is gonna come out so strong. DJ Khaled, he's in way too many of these pictures. He done spent way too much time with Puffy. He gonna get called to the stand. I mean, if I was a lawyer and I'm looking at all this stuff, like, who's this guy? Let's look him up. See how much dealings he had with, he was at the parties, he in all the videos. He dealing with all the, he did a song and did a little group song with Mary J. Blige. Justin Bieber was in the song with that, "We the Best Music," you know, all that Brandon type stuff. And dude, Usher, Come on, Usher, you got to get on the stand and tell the truth, man. Nothing but the truth, so help you God.
For decades, Diddy and Usher have shared a long, complicated history. Once, Usher saw Diddy as a mentor who opened doors to the glittering realm of hip-hop, even inviting him to live under his wing during the formative years of his career. Back in the 1990s, as rumors swirled about wild parties, questionable behavior, and secretive backstage dealings, Usher's recollections were more than just nostalgic anecdotes. They were testimony to an era when influence often came at a steep price. And now, as Usher prepares to testify, many wonder, what exactly does he remember? And how might those memories undermine Diddy's defense?
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it. The result of being around that man, Sean Puffy Combs, I don't sleep to this day. I have a problem sleeping to this day. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old, and I'm telling him, look, you're going to put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there. You got Craig Mack in there. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? We would fight. We would tussle.
People claim that Usher allegedly got uncomfortable after speaking to Diddy at the dinner table.
It's nothing like fellowshipping, Right. So we see each other around, but we don't get it. Usher, how you been, man? I've been seeing you so long.
How much did we drink?
You don't even know what's going on. You trying to say something, Usher?
I'm trying to say something.
What do you want to say?
I don't know if I should, but I'm trying.
Well, you drank that beer, you drank 2 shots of tequila.
Yeah, right.
You drank 1 Caipirosca.
Let me say fired up.
Yeah.
That's your group, right? Fired up.
I like
fired up. Your forehead is sweating like Uncle Leroy.
It's hot as hell.
It ain't that hot.
What's your thoughts on this?
Legal experts speculate that Usher's upcoming testimony isn't just a routine recount of old times. Instead, it could expose dark corners of Diddy's notorious past, from high-profile parties laden with extravagant excess to whispers of misconduct that have haunted the mogul for years. With every detail potentially laid bare in court, the pressure is mounting on Diddy. Insiders even claim that the walls are closing in, with sources hinting that Diddy might be scrambling behind the scenes to mitigate the fallout. If Usher's words confirm any of the explosive allegations swirling around these infamous gatherings, it could spell disaster for Diddy's already precarious legal standing.
I think it's a combination of, and I think we can all kind of agree to some extent, everyone knows Puffy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, in some way, shape, or form through his music. He's had a huge influence in the way that we look at hip-hop, the way we look at millionaires, billionaires, fashion, things like that. And then all of a sudden, we have this massive criminal case. And I think a lot of people are looking back and saying, well, I heard a whisper, I heard a rumor. Is this connected? Is it not? And I think both as an attorney and as just a person who was born in the 80s, this fascinated me, and I really appreciate ABC and everyone involved, because when I came with a crazy idea of like, what about a podcast? People were like, you know what? Yeah, let's see how this works.
How significant is it that this federal judge just dropped multiple charges from Lil Rod's civil lawsuit?
So I get that it's a big headline, and it is significant if you're looking at it just as this civil lawsuit. And I think the Rodney Jones lawsuit was massive in the sense that it led to the raids of Sean Combs' homes, because in that lawsuit he said, this is where the videos are, this is what he's doing with it, all these allegations, and likely led to this federal indictment. But the reason why these charges got dismissed is because of pleadings. The way that the attorney pled out the charges with RICO, for example, that highest charge, and couldn't connect an alleged criminal enterprise to the damages that Rodney Jones says that he faced. Now, does that mean that Sean Combs had a RICO enterprise? Maybe, maybe not. But it means in the civil lawsuit, it's not going to apply. So for his federal indictment, that criminal case, that's still going on, and that's probably a bigger issue for Sean Combs overall.
The difference between sex trafficking and consensual sex is force, fraud, or coercion. They are going through their victims and they're saying, how can I establish force? How can I establish coercion? Probably not so much fraud, right? Because ultimately this case is about sex trafficking. there's a prostitution counts, and prostitution is different. Prostitution just means that the sex happened, but there was an exchange of something of value. But the feds aren't trying this case to convict Diddy of prostitution. They want to get to sex trafficking. So their entire focus right now is to prove that the sex involved that force or that coercion, right? Was it people being drugged against their will? Was there security? Were there weapons, right? That's why even though he wasn't charged with the weapons violation, they really talked about the rifles, the assault rifles in the indictment. So I think that's going to be the focus of the Department of Justice in this case. How can we improve that force? How can we improve that coercion?
It's going to be interesting to see what they bring forward, because it does seem like they have a lot of evidence. I'm glad you brought up the weapons issue, because you're right, it wasn't a charge, but it's still in the court documents. Talking about the defense side of things, we've kind of inferred what their plan is, at least what we can expect. But as of right now, this next 5-ish months, what do you think the defense team is doing to prepare for the trial?
Amid all this, Justin Bieber's actions add an unexpected twist. In a move that shocked fans and industry insiders alike, Bieber unfollowed Usher on Instagram, a gesture that many now interpret as a pointed rebuke. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. As Usher's entire Twitter history was wiped clean following a supposed hacking incident, questions began to mount. Was this digital disappearance merely a coincidence? Or was it a calculated move to dodge further association with Diddy's scandal? Bieber's decision to cut ties publicly has left the online community reeling, with some speculating that his actions are far from a simple social media quirk.
Justin Bieber just unfollowed Usher on social media, along with a lot of other people that he's associated with in the music industry. Now, why does this matter, and why the heck do I care who Justin Bieber is following? Well, the people he unfollowed actually have a connection to each other, and this may have a deeper meaning. Usher was Justin Bieber's mentor growing up, and the one that mentored Usher was P. Diddy. In fact, he was sent to Bad Boy Records, P. Diddy's record label, to work with him when he was just 14 years old. And then Usher went and eventually owned his own record label with a man named Scooter Braun that Justin also unfollowed, and they signed Justin when he was just 13 years old. See the trend? Justin also unfollowed a man named Peeper, who wrote and produced a lot of his songs and was his mentor earlier on in his career. He also unfollowed Allison Kay, who was a former manager. He also unfollowed Ryan Good, who was the best man at his wedding and basically his stylist. He unfollowed Kenny Hamilton, which was his security guard, and he was Usher's former assistant. Looks like Justin Bieber wants out of this whole mess, and maybe he knows something is coming.
You got Justin unfollowing Usher, so you know what the fuck that's about, right? Right? Like, why would he do it? You know? And Usher looked kind of uncomfortable talking about this shit. So, and plus, Diddy locked up. You got a whole lot of shit coming down the tail end of this shit, right? Coming out the tail end of this shit, coming down the totem pole, right? I mean, we as people on the outside looking in, we probably can assume that yes, some bullshit happened. You know, it's the industry. Diddy was fucking around with goddamn Clyde Davis. You know, Diddy fucking around with all these motherfuckers. What's the nickname, man? What was his nickname? Cause this one nigga name, damn, I forget his name, but it's Diddy God. He's a godfather to Diddy's sons and his children and shit. I forget his name.
And then come the headlines about Hailey Bieber spending all of Justin's money. Why did he sell his catalog? Is he gonna go broke? Friends are concerned. They're concerned because he's unfollowing people. Oh my God, he must be having a mental breakdown. Look, guys, it is clear that Justin Bieber wants out. He probably can't even speak out because of incredibly complicated contracts. You know who also warned about that? A certain Mr. Kanye West. Take a listen.
We can't just say, oh, it's okay for people to like super complicate deals and to collude on deals and to not look at us as human beings, as artists and athletes and actors, that we have to be willing to like stand up for that to be able to change something. And we need to come together as a society to be the first civilization that actually became civil.
But despite these super complicated contracts, people not being able to speak out, people being fearful, people being threatened, people being told and gaslit in the media when they're just saying something, trying to say that something bad happened to me, that I am being treated badly. Despite this, we are seeing that people are brave and people are learning ways to work around them. Young artists are somehow working around these super complicated deals. I mean, saying a lot with something as simple as an unfollow. So that is what Brett Cooper did, by the way, recently. Everyone's speculating. A couple of unfollows will let you know what's really going on. Maybe not fully, but kind of giving you an idea. And to see Justin Bieber doing this, he is signaling hard right now.
Fans have been quick to dissect Bieber's behavior, linking it directly to the fallout from Diddy's arrest on serious federal charges, including sex trafficking, racketeering, and even prostitution. With bottles of baby oil reportedly discovered alongside evidence against Diddy, the stakes in this case have never been higher. But what really has Bieber fired up?
The court, by the federal rules of evidence, they can take judicial notice of certain facts or allegations, meaning take them as true, and incorporate them into his complaint in a way. And here, Jones argues that the court should take judicial notice of the allegations from the federal criminal indictment that Combs faces and a number of other sexual assault and misconduct lawsuits that Combs faces, and use that to support Jones's claims in his complaint. And he argues that he didn't fail to state a RICO claim, for example, because based on the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, what he had to say in a press conference, we're talking about Damian Williams, after Sean Combs' arrest and formal charging, and also the federal indictment itself, Combs and his enterprise, he makes the argument, are presumed guilty of being a RICO criminal organization, and that he has properly pled the structure and hierarchy and members of this enterprise. Tell you what, presumed guilty, we're going to get back to that in a minute. The court definitely had something to say about that. Now, when it comes to the sex trafficking claim, Jones argues that the alleged shooting, the alleged assaults, the alleged displaying of firearms, the alleged threats, those are all evidence of force, fraud, or coercion. In terms of the claim of sexual assault and the argument, well, you needed to provide more details for this claim, well, Jones responds, and I'm just going to read this to you verbatim. If the defendants would like plaintiff to draw a diagram, plaintiff would happily oblige.
Yeah, the way it's laid out in this lawsuit is a man who says he met Diddy back in 2007. He was a Vegas adult male entertainer, said he was retained for dances and so forth, but then it turned into sort of these sex parties that we've heard all about. And he says the baby oil was slathered all over him to the point that it was dripping off. And he says after it was applied, he began to feel drowsy, disoriented, all of those things, and became more sort of pliable to do this sort of sexual things that Diddy was directing him to do, according to the lawsuit.
As he says, Diddy watched, we're not going to get more specific. It's about as graphic as it gets based on this lawsuit. But suffice it to say, Diddy was up close and personal watching.
It's extremely graphic, and as you pointed out, the feds pointed out those 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's mentioned in the criminal indictment, but never further than that. It sounded like kink shaming, sort of maybe he was into baby oil, but there's no crime involved with that. It looked like it was just a pot shot at Diddy. If this is part of the forensics of what they gathered from his compound during those raids, it's going to add an entirely new dimension to this case.
Now, Charles, the one thing that I didn't quite know from the lawsuit, although I'm assuming, is that if this is true, I guess they would have taken the bottle and unscrewed the cap,
and opened,
and then pour in whatever the drug is, and then close it. But I don't think he would have done it to 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
No, but you would keep if this is true, you keep the baby oil stocked, and then you open it and put whatever in.
Many believe that Bieber's move isn't just about distancing himself from a scandal-ridden past. It's a statement. By publicly severing his online connection with Usher, Bieber appears to be calling out what he sees as dishonesty in the courtroom. After all, if Usher did indeed stretch or even fabricate the truth about his time with Diddy, then Bieber's reaction is more than a mere act of social media drama. It's a stand for accountability in an industry where power often overshadows integrity.
I think that I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on.
Do you think the person that the you of then was on a path of self-destruction?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark. but I want to definitely tell my story so that if that resonates to anybody, that they can hopefully learn from it.
Well, for me, music comes from somewhere.
Right.
Maybe it comes from this youthful naivety and this desire to escape something. And then you get out there in front of the world, and then it comes from a place of wanting more of it.
Yeah. I mean, just think about how young I was and so impressionable. And you have everybody telling me how awesome I am at all times, and like, I just want people to understand, like, the psychology behind why I potentially could have problems in my life. So, yeah, thank you for being here and helping me tell that story. But yeah, just protecting those moments, because people take for granted encounters, and I just want to protect her, I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. Yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Do you realize how important your story is? Every time I have a conversation with someone who's been through this unique type of experience, I'm searching for some kind of truth that can help.
I commend you for going there and asking the tough questions and the things that people don't want to talk about, and they don't want to go there because it's revealing, and I want people to take a look at my story, and hopefully my words can make a difference. Yeah, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on. But the more I looked at, so now I'm not doing, the way I look at my relationship with God and with Jesus is, I'm not trying to earn God's love by doing good things. God has already loved me for who I am before I did anything to earn and deserve it. It's a free gift by accepting Jesus and just giving your life to him. And what he did is the gift. The forgiveness is the thing that we look at, and, I'm going to worship you, God, because you gave me something so good. And so you live that life of, like, I don't want to cheat on my wife, not because it's the right thing to do, but because I don't want to hurt her. See the difference there?
That is love.
Yeah. It's
You're putting the well-being of someone that you care about ahead of your own fallibilities and your own previous behavior.
Exactly.
And what's out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Adding fuel to the fire, Usher's own history with Diddy is riddled with conflicting accounts. In a 2016 interview on The Howard Stern Show, Usher casually mentioned that he moved in with Diddy at the tender age of 14 to learn the ins and outs of the entertainment business. His offhand remarks hinted at encounters he found bewildering at the time, comments that now carry a weight of suspicion and scrutiny. Was he simply a passive observer, or did he witness more that he's reluctant to fully disclose? Every piece of this puzzle not only adds layers to Diddy's legal woes, but also challenges the credibility of Usher's courtroom testimony.
He lost his voice. Physically or just, puberty? He's growing, and he lost his voice, so he lost his range. So the record company felt like, okay, this is not a great investment.
And it was at that time that Usher was threatened to be cut from the label. In an interview that Usher did about 10 years later with the Rolling Stone, he describes how he was feeling at that time. The article says he was confused and angry, and he even punched a wall one night. Usher is quoted as saying, "How can you embrace me and then all of a sudden you don't even want to return my phone calls?" He said, "The night I hit that wall was intense. I took off for 30 minutes, non-stop, 5 in the morning, running. He literally tried to escape. Finally, all out of breath, I thought, you know what? I don't care what they think. I'm gonna win." So he begged L.A. Reid to stay on the label, and he was determined to make it work. And this part's just my opinion, but it is kind of confusing and unexplainable to me that somebody like L.A. Reid, who is already such an established name in the business, would even sign somebody who's like in the 12 to 13-year-old range and not know for a fact that their voice was about to change, but I digress. They had little 13-year-old Usher good and scared, cortisol levels through the roof, threatened him with taking away his spot on the label for something he could not even control, like his voice changing and getting acne.
Album won the hearts of record producers. The Fall from Grace experience set the standard for Janetta Patton on what it would take to keep her son in a competitive position in the record industry.
And he basically didn't have a choice. L.A. Reid presented him with one option to stay on the label, and that involved going to attend a finishing school of sorts known as Puffy Flavor Camp.
I moved to New York City and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's.
A lot of people now will be running for the hills. A lot of people will turn against him. Same as the Epstein stuff when they says there was recordings and they had everyone. But the only thing is, whether they not show the recordings, but release the names who were involved. Now, I've no issues with people having parties and having orgies and taking drugs and drinking. I don't give a fuck for that. It's when the fact that they're saying people were drugged, people were groomed, kids possibly groomed. You see the video of Justin Bieber at 14 and how uncomfortable he made him feel, saying you're staying with Uncle Puff for 48 hours. Like, it's just... That's not a normal way for a man to act around children.
But brother, let me ask you something. Before all this happened and came to fruition, the people knew that. That wasn't the first, the government, the people in the music business, the government especially. Did you know that in 2011, the government went to a main gangster in New York City who was under investigation for drug trafficking and possibly murder and everything like that, and said, we'll give you the queen for the day, we'll give you a proffer agreement if you tell us about Sean Combs having sex with underage boys.
Meanwhile, the timing of Usher's social media purge, which occurred right after Diddy's arrest, has only deepened the mystery. Some skeptics argue that the sudden deletion of thousands of tweets was too convenient, suggesting that perhaps Usher was trying to erase evidence of conversations or memories that might contradict his current narrative. Critics point out that when faced with mounting legal pressure and public curiosity, transparency becomes the most valuable currency. And when transparency is lacking, questions naturally arise.
Everybody needs a mentor. Who you choose to invest in as that mentor is really up to who you see yourself being. Because as a result of being around that man, Sean Puffy Combs, I don't sleep to this day. I have a problem sleeping to this day. I got it from him.
And your parents were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige, they didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time, you know what I mean?
Where was Usher's mother while her teenage son was allegedly sharing a bed with a grown man?
With the record company, I'm just not trusting them at all. They still don't want me involved because they feel like mothers are too connected and they cannot separate. I knew how to separate, but with them, I see deception over here, deception over there.
About a decade after this whole Flavor Camp incident, Usher would describe this period of time in his life as the, quote, hardest days of his life. In a 2004 feature with Rolling Stone, Usher says that he had a bandage on his hand in 1994 when he arrived in New York, where L.A. Reid had sent him to, quote, craft an image and album with Puff Daddy.
Like, think about it. Diddy said, listen, you want this job? Come, let's hook up, and then you can get the job. And the guy said no. Like, I think it's, when are we going to stop pretending that Hollywood, the music industry, all these people from Epstein, it's not a secret, but we all kind of just we brush it away. It's a real serious
Mace
problem.
is being interviewed. Rob, just check to see if there's audio music in it or no.
This is Mace?
If you can check real
Where the hell's he been?
Music.
God, Mace.
So check this out. So Mace, this is Mace in 2002.
Okay.
He steps away. He's the guy that stepped away. And look what he says in this interview. This is 22 years ago. Go. And by the way, Mace is an OG guy.
OG in church. He went to church.
Yeah.
All is well with him.
Have you spoken to Puff lately? Do y'all talk or what?
Well, actually, we not really on speaking terms, but I still pray for the dude, and I pray that all is well with him.
Okay. Well, P. Diddy's supposed to be releasing a gospel album. What came to your mind when you heard that? What thoughts did you have?
Y'all want me to answer that?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, can RuPaul put out a gospel album?
Can you imagine? Wow.
But don't you think that everybody can express themselves?
Definitely.
And if he
they can. You ask me, I'm just answering.
Is Justin Bieber exposing the real truth behind Usher's courtroom tales? Is this the final twist that shatters the myth surrounding one of hip-hop's most powerful alliances? Or is it just another strategic play in the high-stakes game of celebrity loyalty and betrayal? And if you want to stay ahead of every bombshell development, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the truth is just getting started, and you won't want to miss a moment.